Camp Tuesday here on Birds 365. Johnny Mac's already checked in with his counselors over there. We'll find out from him if the Eagles are actually going to wear pads today. Don't know that yet, but we know we've got Glen Macnow, the host of the Eagles pregame show on their radio network, and you hear him weekends with Mike Sealski and that other guy he works with on Sundays. Always good to get Glen Macnow involved, and he shaved. When I reached out to him, I said, "You're going to come on Tuesday?" He goes, "Uh-oh, I got to shave? You telling me I got to shave? I'm on vacation. You're going to make me shave, McDonald? You look good there, partner."
Well, first time in 5 days, and so I did. I'm coming home. Mark, nice to see you. It's been a while. Before we begin, I need your help here because the Immaculate Grid NFL is Eagles today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking football.
Football Immaculate Grid. Okay. So it's an Eagles show. Can you help me out here? Here's what we got.
We'll take a shot.
Okay, I've filled out two. I need one more spot under the Eagles. Eagles 1,000-yard rusher. Who would you put? One season, 1,000 yards.
See, now does he understand the machinations of the Immaculate Grid?
Well, you try the rarer name. The fewer people answer it, the better for you.
Mm-hmm. The rarer, the better.
Yeah.
So who's a 1,000-yard rusher that not most people would say? Because like you can throw Shady out there, and that's you're going to get it right, but you're going to get a score that isn't all that good. Who's a 1,000-yard?
I think I got this one. I'm happy with my answer on this one.
All right, you want to?
I went with Ernest Jackson, who's the guy who Buddy Ryan inherited and cost. I got a 3% on that, which is great.
3, not bad. Right? That's not bad, Mac.
Two more. Eagle played for Eagles and Browns, and I filled it out, and then I realized who I should have put. All right? So I put Denard Avery, and I got a 13, which is okay.
Right, because it was just last year. He was still part of the team, right?
I wish I'd put Doug Peterson.
Oh, yeah. That would be. Right. We mentioned Sheldon Brown. We mentioned Sheldon Brown a second ago.
Oh, Sheldon, yeah. Who remembers that? Yeah. And the last one, which I haven't filled out, if you have any ideas, I know we'll get to your agenda here. Eagles, Panthers. Who played for the Eagles and the Panthers?
Oh. I mean, my opinion, the greatest defensive.
You can't go Dan Arnold yet because he hasn't made the team.
Ooh. I know who I could go. Who do you got, Farzy?
Reggie White.
Yeah, let's do Reggie because I think people remember the Packers, but they don't remember he played for the Panthers.
Was a Panther. That's
so what do we get on that? We get a 14. That's okay. I would like lower, but I'll live with a 14.
That's not bad at all. All right.
Okay.
I go baseball. I did basketball the other day too, and I was ticked off. I had like 3 great ones, and then I just made a mistake. And you want to punch the screen. We'll put the grid away. We want to talk gridiron with Glen Macnow. The non-competition at left guard. Doug Peterson came out and said after the practice the other day, still it's a competition. We haven't decided anything at right guard, and Tyler Steens looked good when in actuality he hasn't. He's had a bunch of penalties and false starts, and Juergens has taken every snap so far at right guard. So the coach is saying one thing, but his actions are saying another. How big a deal is this, Glenn, as to who the right guard's going to be? He is between Lane and Kelsey, 2 potential Hall of Famers. I'm not saying that you or I could go out and play right guard, but is it as big a deal as some people like Jody McDonald are making it out to be?
Well, it's a big deal in a team that doesn't have a lot of big deals on offense, right? You're really set everywhere on offense, so where are you not set? Well, it's kind of there. So you lost a guy who was not an all-pro, but, I mean, he was big and burly, and I think that particularly playing next to a small and undersized center like Kelsey, size matters. So, and I will freely tell you that Ray Didinger planted this in my brain. The thing about Juergens is he's not a big guard. So if you have an undersized center and an undersized guard, as good as Kelsey has been for all these years, I think you need to worry just a little bit about a potential push up the middle. And that's where Juergens is not ideal for the position just because he's not 6'5", 330.
Mac, let me also ask you about the competition at the tight end position. where the Eagles, we know Dallas Goedert's going to be their number one guy and going to play 98% of the snaps. Jack Stoll has been the backup 2 years running as the quote-unquote blocking tight end. And then they got three different guys who bring three different things to the table. We were kicking around, myself and Johnny Mack, in the first segment. He even suggested the Eagles could keep 4 tight ends. I don't think that's happening. I think 3 is the max number. What do you think the new offense coordinator, Brian Johnson, who's talking to the media coming up in just a couple of minutes here, what do you think his use of tight ends is going to be looking like this year?
I don't think the offense is going to be much different than it was, although I think it would really help them to have another tight end who you trust catching passes, and Jack Stoll's not the guy, right? So I don't know if these other guys can come in and do that. As good as Goddard is, it's always nice to have that second tight end who you can count on to catch, 30 catches a year, maybe that's a little high. Or if Goddard goes out, I don't want to take the tight end out of the passing game. So I would like to see one of those guys emerge who can actually catch the ball. Nothing against Jack Stoll, but as you said, Jody, he's a blocker. That's what he does.
Mm-hmm. Glenn, I wanted to ask you about this. It comes to Jalen Hurts. And great year last year, phenomenal year last year, one of the best in Eagles history last year, and all that. But we all know what a competitive guy he is, how much he is driven, how much he's a student of the game, and all that. From last year to this year, is there anything specifically that you think Jalen Hurts is working on to take yet another step forward? Maybe not as big because, the ceiling was right there for him last year. I'd like to see him push it a little higher. What do you think he needs to do to push it a little higher other than actually win the accolades of the Super Bowl, MVP, and all that stuff? What do you think he works on?
Yeah. I don't think there's one specific element of the game. I think that for him, it's just the overall continued maturity, continued seeing the field better, continued reading defenses as he walks up the line of scrimmage, which he was good at last year. But if you take a guy who's a 7 or 8 year vet and ask him, how are you now versus when you were back in your second or third year, clearly they all get better. So I think the jump he took last year, as everybody else says, was tremendous. I don't expect anything like that. I don't expect a regression, but I just think it's kind of the gradual smartening, wise part of the game before they, just as they get out of the huddle, he knows exactly what's going to happen out there. And that's something that you really need more and more experience to get. And the other thing is, and it's not exactly what you asked me, but I do think we'll see a little less running this year. You're not going to take it out of his game, but I think take 2 or 3 carries out of the game and give it to the running game.
All right, and one thing that came down this week, Mac, that actually put a smile on my face was, I've been saying this for the better part of a month, probably with you on Sundays on WIP. The one thing, only one thing that I had some fear with coming into the season with Jalen Hurts was he's too good a guy. That there were going to be so many requests for his presence and participation. He's the new quasi after Mahomes, maybe the franchise of the NFL. There was going to be tugged in different directions. I love the fact that he came out and said, listen, they offered me the quarterback show on Netflix next year. And I said, thank you, no. That he turned that down because he's as narrow focused on getting the Eagles back to.
I love that. Listen, we would have loved. I watched that show. I know you watched that show, Mark. I don't know if you saw it. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. And I would have loved to have seen him on it. But the fact that he wants no part of any of that, he's not about, listen, he'll have his endorsements, right? And he'll have his public speaking gigs, but he's not about any of that. And man, after some of what we've seen in this town over the years, that's completely refreshing.
What do you mean, like the Randall Cunningham show? No, never mind.
Glenn, going back to the Kelly Green, obviously phenomenal.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Bear with me.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, he's got old school.
Look, the Eagles, they won the championship in 1960, back-to-back in 48 and 49. And then other than that, we just had a really fun defense and a really fun quarterback to watch, but it did not grant a Super Bowl victory, okay? The reason people really love that jersey is because most of us were introduced to the Eagles with that jersey, the gangrene defense with that jersey. So I got to ask you this, not just about the Kelly Green, but now this is going to be a different defense in the likes of Sean Desai's defense, going to have a lot of notes of Vic Fangio, a name we hear all the time. But now you got Nakobe Dean as your signal caller for that defense, middle linebacker. If he is the guy going into the season, what's your confidence level right now in Nakobe Dean running that defense?
I lost the narrative. How does that relate to the Kelly Green? Or
We all love defense. We all love Kelly Green.
Oh, okay.
Defense.
Yeah.
Now the defense, Jonathan Gannon gone. We're all very happy about that. New middle linebacker. How we feeling?
Yeah, I'm eager to see Nakobe Dean. I don't think Nakobe Dean is going to be a Pro Bowler anytime soon, but I think he's certainly going to be capable there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles pick up another linebacker between now and the start of the season. Either middle linebacker, outside linebacker, one more guy. There's going to be a lot of free agents who shake loose. We know that. Howie's done a great job of those late pickups. I mean, Stanley Gardner-Johnson last year, right? How great was that? He was really good. So I think we may get one more there. I certainly don't want to say anything negative about Nakobe because we barely saw him last year. He played 17 plays on defense during the entire year, something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to make a judgment. Loved him in college. It's a different game. They say he's undersized. I've seen undersized guys play well. Sam Mills. So my answer to you, it's a Jody Mack answer, I guess, is what I'm going to say. I need to see it before I have too much of an opinion on it.
Okay. Agreed.
Let me ask you real quick, more directly, the best jersey of the past in the Kelly Green. You go Randall?
I did love the one with the bird logo on the shoulder. I thought that was a great one. But there's a part of me, and I wasn't even in town during the 1980 Super Bowl, that era. I came right at the end of that era. I do love those green and silver ones with the silver stripes on the shoulders, the Jaws years. I thought those are really cool jerseys.
I'm good with all of Kelly Green except for Ricky Waters. For Who For What was also Kelly Green, and we got to keep that one to the side, and we'll be perfectly fine. Let me ask you this about the Eagles and uniform jerseys and what. Why do fans get so moved by this, Glenn? It actually annoys my other Mac partner, John McMullen, hates talking about Kelly Green. And I got no problem with it. I don't think people suggested it actually has an impact on the outcome of a game. Yeah, they annoy me. But if people want to get jazzed, want to get excited about it, that's perfectly fine with me. What do you think it is about Kelly Green that you might not have seen all the video? And people going up at 2:00.
I saw.
To buy these jerseys.
And all respect to John McMullen, he's not a fan, so he's not viewing it as a fan, right? And I'm not taking a shot at him, but it is often a way that fans connect with their team. They wear the jersey, they wear the clothes, they like the clothes. It makes them feel close to their team. It's an identifier. I get it. I mean, I'm not going to be wearing a jersey to a game, but I certainly don't begrudge the people who do. And when we do the pregame show and we sit there out in front, we look at all, oh, look, there's a Shady McCoy and there's two Randalls and there's always a Doc in there. And people, it's their attachment. It's them showing their attachment. I think it's great. Why do I like the Kelly Green specifically? Because it's a great color. I mean, Mark's right. It brings you back, a lot of people here, back to when they grew up. And, if you are, how old are you, Mark?
40.
Crap, you got there fast. Weren't you an intern 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, pretty much. I was watching your cats, as a matter of fact. Yes,
that's right. Anyway, so, a lot of people who grew up and what they remember is the Buddy Ryan Gangrene or the Randall Cunningham team, or, they remembered those teams. And when Jeff Lurie made the switch, I think it was 1996, he went to a color that at the time was very trendy. It was like the teal, winter green kind of era, and he went to that. And I remember, Joey, we were doing the show, how many people just thoroughly disliked it.
Oh, and took it out on Lurie. Because he was the guy who was changing it.
That's right. Well, they won in those jerseys over time. Everybody got those jerseys. People accepted it. They won a Super Bowl in those jerseys. So people were certainly happy with it. But the Kelly Green takes everybody back to their youth and back to when they became a fan. And, it's a real tie to nostalgia. And just the other point I'll say again, it's a superior jersey. It's a great color and it's a great jersey.
Agreed.
Real quick, if I may, Jody, Glenn, does the jersey pop better in a day game or a primetime game?
I'll go day.
Oh,
Very
good. Very
day.
good.
Yeah.
Lights can only.
Yeah,
do
I
so
want to see
much.
that in the sun.
Nothing better than the sun. Come on.
Full sun.
Is saying the night they
We
picked
can
them
have
up.
these at night. Hold on, where's this? There we go. That's the night.
There you go.
I'm fully quick today, fellas.
Need your take on this, Glenn, because it could very well be a big part of the Eagles' upcoming year. A little early to say, but speculation. They've been wowed by the plays that DeAndre Swift has made out of the backfield in 3 practices. And again, it's 3 practices. Macnow and I have talked about this at length. The Eagles didn't throw the ball to the backs last year any. They were 32nd in the National Football League. For those counting at home, there are only 32 teams. They were last yardage by running backs catching the ball out of the backfield. But they went out and got DeAndre Swift, and he's been very good at it in Detroit the last 3 years. And they've made a point of getting him out and working on that type stuff, getting the back involved in the passing game in the first 3 practices of the year. John and I have been saying, when in doubt, Jalen Hurts is going to run. Dump off, check down, call it what you want. He doesn't get there. AJ's not open. The Goddard's not open. Let me go. And he's off picking up 12 yards with his legs. Do you think he's going to stay patient and make that part of the offense this year? Do you think the Eagles will implement enough plays and call those plays where the toss to the running back is higher in the progressions? How big a throwing to the backs, specifically DeAndre Swift, is going to be part of the Eagle offense this year?
I think it's a great question, Jody, and it relates back to what we talked about earlier. And Mark asked me how is it that Hurts can grow? Well, that's a big area that Hurts can grow, which is he can do a better job of throwing it to the backs, both in terms of his accuracy and in terms of do that instinct before you run. Sometimes you'll last longer. So I think it's a great point, and it is one area where they can really grow. DeAndre Swift is really good at it. I would be delighted if at the end of the year, DeAndre Swift leads the Eagles backs with, can I dare say, 60 catches, and Rashard Penny leads them in rushing with 800 yards. Those 2 things, then you're going to have the dynamic offense is going to be even better.
Nice balance.
Glenn, this is a very simple question, but I think it's a very complex answer. What the hell's happened to the running back position in the NFL? You need 3 or 4 of them nowadays.
Yeah, well, one of the things that's happened is that this is in terms of the contracts. Everybody's realized what we've kind of all known for a while, which is they don't last long, right? Running backs you just use them until they are used up, and most of them are used up by the end. It's 28 years old, 29 at the most. So you are not going to give them that big second contract. So you just this is what they're going through in Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor, right? He wants to get a longer second deal, and they don't want to do it. And I understand that's the way it works. Why is it that they're using more? I think it's, well, first of all, it's effective and teams are winning by doing it. So it's a copycat league. They're going to do it. But I think the bigger thing is they just don't want to invest a lot of money in the position. So they're not going to give guys the opportunity to rush for 1,500 yards.
And oh, by the way, when they rush for 1,500 yards, that's a good way to get your paycheck cut because you got too much tread off the tire. It's a lose-lose. Everybody looks for a win-win. Lose-lose is, oh, you're great. Yeah, but you use stuff too much. Oh, you're not good enough. Well, we're not going to pay you. You can't win if you're a running back in the league this year. And the Eagles will do the shared running back thing. Should be very fun to see how it plays out. I
little girl. Hold on 1 second, Mark. I know you have a daughter. You have a daughter and a son, or 2 daughters?
I have a daughter about to turn 4, and I have a son at a year and a half.
All right, make the son a linebacker, not a running back.
I wouldn't go linebacker either. They're trying to freeze that.
No, that's true. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Leo's got a big base. So I'm thinking either a defensive tackle or maybe a left tackle. He's got a big base. He's got some push to him.
There you go. And if he sprouts up, like Glenn said, tight end. That's where you want to go if you're going to be 6'6". All right, Mac, man. With the fact that we're coming in the first day of hitting today, the Eagles have been, and they're going to get ticked off at me for saying this, a little lucky to have no serious injuries. There have been a couple injuries around the National Football League, significant guys. Denver's screwed again. Oh, there's a karma thing. I said earlier in the show, I'm not a superstitious guy, but the coach ran his mouth about the guy he replaced out there in Denver. Next day, 2 wide receivers go down, one with a probably season-ending injury, the other with a career-ending diagnosis.
Yeah,
See what happens when you screw with the football gods, Sean Payton?
Yeah.
You got to pay back in droves. Eagles have had none of that. Everybody healthy in camp so far this year. Could that be their undoing? That the averages, law of averages says, yeah, last year they didn't have injuries much at all compared to the other teams around the league. Are they tempting fate by continuing to do the less is more thing?
It's going to be a visual answer. Ready? Here's the visual.
What are you looking for?
It's Jody searching for something. It's not there.
All right.
There's no law of averages when it comes to that. I mean, either, but it happened. Sure, it could happen. 4 guys could go down today, but I was not enthusiastic when the practice schedule was basically, we'll practice, once or twice a week. Nobody gets hit. Here you go. Lunch on us. Everybody take a nap. I did not. It took a while to convert me to that. I'm converted. We're not going to go back to the Dick Vermeil, the Buddy Ryan, or even the Andy Reid era. This is what it is, and it works. So, more power to the Eagles coaching and training staff. They figured it out.
On that note, I will say, Jody and Glenn, the the injury bug still owes us from 2017, where all those guys were injured and they still managed to not only make, but win the Super Bowl.
You can't
win the Super Bowl.
You can't be complaining about injuries in a year when you won the Super Bowl.
That still owes us. And then also today, full pads. The players are in full pads today. Practice. Just worth noting.
That's a good thing to know. All right, MacMan, know you got one more day on the beach. Have you seen any sharks up there at Cape Cod?
I have not seen any sharks, and you stop asking me about that. No, I have been in the water many, many times. I employ my strategy, which is I always make sure there's one person out deeper than I am. So if the shark's coming, the shark's coming for that guy, not for me.
Glad to know you've dodged them so far. Good to get you back here in the Delaware Valley tomorrow. Thanks, brother. Thanks for hopping on with us today. I'll talk this Sunday. You and I are off, but the week after, you and I will be doing it again on WIP, and we'll surely have you back.
I'm getting back to my grid here.
Yeah, you got to get back to your grid. He does.
Pleasure, bro. Mark, nice to see you.
Glenn, always a pleasure, brother. I'll say Santa Judy for me.
That's my pal, Glen Macnow. He lives the grids now. He introduced me to the immaculate one, which is baseball, but they've got one for football and hockey and basketball if you want to have some fun each and every single day. Yeah, it's a fun little thing. Check it out online. If you go to any of the blank reference, baseball reference, football reference, hockey reference, they're partners with all of those sites now, too, and you can click up the grid every single day. All right, we're going to take a quickie timeout, come back. Barzette is in for John McMullen. We've still got 15 minutes left to talk Birds football. Stay right there.